guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. For today's video, we are going to be doing Drugstore Mascara Showdown Part 2. If you haven't seen Part 1, last year I posted a video where I compared a bunch of top-rated drugstore mascaras and rated them across a lot of different categories like length, separation, and volume. If you haven't seen that yet, I of course will list that below, but you guys seemed to really enjoy that video and left a lot of requests for more mascaras that you would want me to review, so I thought I would pull out 8 more mascaras from your requests and made sure to pick mascaras that are also top rated for this video so that we could do Part 2 here today. So just like Part 1, I will be applying all of these mascaras on camera. I'll apply 2 coats so that you can see how they look on my lashes, and I will also be showing you how these mascaras look at the end of the day because that was definitely a top request from the last video. You guys asked to see how they wear, so you'll be able to see that in today's video here. Before we jump into it, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for doing those things. It really helps to support me with the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate you so much for doing that. And if you need anything from me, check out my description box below. I have Lightroom preset filters for editing your Instagram photos, my SPF merch, timestamps, discount codes, links to all of the mascaras that I'll be reviewing today, and links to my favorite beauty products of all time. All right, let's jump into it. All right, let's start off with the mascara that I liked the least out of the bunch. We'll just go from worst to best, keep it organized that way. So my least favorite mascara was the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. I was bummed about this. I was excited to test it out again. I hadn't used it in years, but I remember that I used to love it, but it's been a while. I think I used this in middle school and then in high school. So I'm not that shocked that I like other mascaras more than this now, but still I was like, maybe I'll rediscover a love. That did not happen. This wand is just not it. There's a lot of problems with this. It's very long and skinny and has a weird combination of really short, hard plastic bristles, but a super, super flexible wand. Like the bristles are so hard that they feel sharp and they hurt my eyes when I'm coating my lashes with this. But the wand is so freaking bendy that it just doesn't give you, in my opinion, enough, I don't know, like rigidity to really coat the lashes well. I mean, look at this. This is definitely the bendiest wand out of all the mascaras in this video. The formula itself feels really nice. I personally like a formula to be more wet than dry. I don't like a dry formula. I find them to be difficult to work with, but I obviously don't want the mascara to be so wet that it's really clumpy and heavy on the lashes. So somewhere in between, leaning a bit more wet, which is right where this kind of falls, but it's just kind of hard to tell how nicely this formula works because of how weird the wand is. It just doesn't coat the lashes well. So if this had a different wand but the same formula, I feel like that would be a game changer. All right, let's move on to ratings next. If I am looking down while I'm talking about this, it's because I have screenshots of all of these mascaras on my lashes pulled up on my screen so that I can reference that throughout. So this may be triggering for some people, but I feel like I can't give length a higher rating than a 3.5 out of 5 for this mascara. Yes, it does get super long at certain points, but it's not consistent in length. So I have some lashes that look oddly short next to the super long ones, and it just does not look right in my opinion. So I know that this is supposed to be like the most lengthening separating mascara ever, but you'll see as the video goes on, length is so much more consistent for the rest of these. Volume, I have to give a 2 out of 5. This definitely gets the lowest rating in this entire video for volume, and I know not everybody wants a super bold, voluminous lash, but I feel like this is so far in the opposite direction that it just doesn't look right. It's very long, it's very spindly. It's not my personal cup of tea. And for separation, I would personally rate this a 3.5 out of 5. Again, I know that this is supposed to be a very separating mascara, but I actually don't think it is. I think it creates the illusion of separation because we have a lot of length in certain areas and not a lot of volume. But if you look up close, you can see that a lot of my lashes are clumped together. You just can't tell. as much as you can with other mascaras because there's not a lot of volume. So that's my final answer on that. You're welcome to disagree, but this fell flat for me in every single category except wear. I think that that's the one saving grace with this mascara. It does hold up well on my lashes throughout the day. So if you are into a very long kind of spindly look, you don't want any added volume, and you want a mascara that wears well, then you may really enjoy this. Otherwise, I personally prefer every other mascara in this video over this. Next, we have the L'Oreal Bambi Eye Mascara, which also has a plastic wand with relatively short plastic bristles, but they're definitely longer than L'Oreal Telescopic, and there are way more bristles at that. So it does a way better job at coating the lash, in my opinion. This is also pretty flexible, not as flexible as L'Oreal, but it's very, very wide and large. So it actually makes for pretty messy application. I get this smudged all over my lid when I'm applying it because it's just so big. But again, I think that this has a nice formula that's kind of right in the middle of being dry and wet. I think it would be even better if it was just a smidge more wet, but overall it is a nice formula. For ratings, I would also rate this a 3.5 out of 5 on length. No, it does not get as long as L'Oreal Telescopic at its longest point, but as you can see here, I think that the length is more consistent. So 3.5 out of 5 feels fair to me here. Didn't wow me, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. I do think that this gives a really nice amount of volume. So I would rate volume a 4 out of 5, but separation, I have to knock it down to a 3.5 out of 5. I do think towards the outer edge of my lashes look nice and separated, but when we hit kind of the middle to inner corner, there's definitely some clumping going on here. So overall at first, I think that this looks pretty nice, but unfortunately, this is not a mascara that holds up well on my lashes throughout the day. It definitely looks like my mascara has rubbed off or flaked off, even though I don't have a bunch of flakes sitting on my face. So this is not one I was obsessed with either. I think that it is better than L'Oreal Telescopic, but again, I think there are much better options here. Next up is the CoverGirl Lash Blast Clump Crusher Mascara. This one has a wand that I actually really love. It's nice and stiff, which I think makes it easier to coat the lashes. It has shorter plastic bristles, but again, way more bristles than the L'Oreal Telescopic wand. And it also has an outer edge that is curved. So on the top, it's kind of convex. On the bottom, it's concave. We're really sciencey here. The issue that I have with this though is the same issue that I have with all CoverGirl mascaras, and that is that the formula is too dry and there's not enough of it in the tube. If this had a wetter formula, I think that CoverGirl mascaras in general would be some of the absolute best in the game, but that is definitely the major downfall to them. That not only prevents the final result from being as amazing as it could be, but it also means that this dries up so quickly, drier than any other mascara I've ever tried. I feel like I used this for 3 weeks and then I have to get rid of it. I feel like the results that I get with this are pretty comparable to L'Oreal Bambi. I would also give this a 3.5 out of 5 for length. Nothing amazing, but not the worst ever. I would give volume a 3.5 out of 5 here, a little bit less voluminous than L'Oreal Bambi, but I would give separation a 4 out of 5. I do think that this separates really nicely. You'll see throughout this video that for whatever reason, my left eye tends to get clumped a lot more easily than my right eye. I don't know if that's because I'm right-handed and I just have better control on my right eye, or if maybe my lashes are just kind of growing in funky on the left side. I'm not fully sure, so I'm trying to take that into consideration with all of these ratings, but on the right eye, perfectly separated. But just like L'Oreal Bambi, this is another mascara that loses length and volume, and by the end of the day, looks like a lot of it has rubbed off. So not one that holds up well on me. And again, for that reason is why this is not my favorite. Next up, we have the Essence I Love Extreme Mascara. This has a very large wand. It's not as fat as the L'Oreal Bambi wand, but it still is a big wand, and this has soft, short bristles. The formula is pretty good. I think, again, it would be better if it was just a little bit more wet. However, because of the shape of this wand and the softer bristles, it does get very clumpy on the wand. So if it had a wetter formula, it probably would be even clumpier. So this is definitely one that you want to wipe off with a paper towel or something so that you don't end up with crazy clumpy lashes. I would rate the length of this mascara a 4 out of 5. It does get super, super long, and it also gets super, super voluminous. It's definitely the most voluminous mascara in this entire video. I would give volume probably a 5 out of 5 here. That is some crazy volume, extreme volume, appropriately named, but unfortunately this definitely does get a bit clumpy. You can especially see that on my left eye, so I would probably rate this like a 2.5 out of 5 on volume. This one's a bit tougher for me to rate because I think my right eye looks way better than my left, but that left is very clumpy. So I'm just gonna say 2.5 out of 5 here. It definitely is a mascara that can be fun to play around with if you're into a very bold lash. For me personally, I like something like this better paired with another mascara that gives more separation and tones it down just a little bit. But unfortunately, this one also does not hold up the absolute best on the lashes either. I think it still looks fine by end of day. It doesn't look bad. It's just in comparison to when I first applied this, it definitely doesn't have nearly as much length and volume. Next up, we have the L'Oreal Bambi Oversized Eye Mascara. So not to be confused with L'Oreal Bambi Eye, which we already reviewed. Different mascaras, totally different wand. This one is flexible and has plastic kind of spiky bristles that are tapered. So on one end, the bristles are pretty long and then they taper off and get shorter and shorter until they basically stop existing. Like there's a pretty big chunk of this wand that basically doesn't have bristles on it, and I totally get what they were trying to do with that because you obviously don't want your inner lashes to look as long as your outer lashes, but what the heck am I supposed to do with that? That doesn't coat my lashes. So if this had longer bristles towards the other end and was more stiff, because yeah, this is very flexible too, then I think that this would be an incredible wand, but it does fall short in a couple areas. And this is actually a formula that I think is a little bit too wet. Probably, yeah, it definitely is the wettest formula out of all of the mascaras in this video. So if that's what you're looking for, you'll enjoy this, but I do think that it starts to feel a little bit heavy on the lashes with 2 coats. You can feel it. I think I would rate length a 4 out of 5 for this mascara. It definitely is a little bit longer than some of the first few that we talked about, but not by a crazy amount. It does give really nice volume though, I will give it that. So I would rate volume a 4.5 out of 5 here, but again, similar to the Essence I Love Extreme mascara, that added volume seems to go hand in hand with some added clumping. So I would rate this a 3 out of 5 for separation. While there's no big, huge clumps on it, I feel like overall, this just gives a little bit of a heavier, clumpier look, if that makes any sense at all. So even though this isn't a super separating mascara, I still do think it looks pretty on the lashes at first. Towards the end of the day, it definitely loses some volume, but overall, I think it still holds up pretty well. So a solid mascara for sure, not my favorite. Next, we have the Essence Double Trouble Mascara, which has a very stiff yet natural wand, I think, or maybe it's like plastic on one end. This one's a bit confusing because it has 2 types of bristles on it. So on one side, it has these really long natural bristles, and on the other, I guess these probably are plastic, but they feel really soft. They are shorter bristles. This formula is a little bit too dry, which I think definitely shows up as far as the results on the lashes. If this was a little bit more wet, I feel like I would be obsessed with this. But as far as length, I would rate this a 3.5 out of 5. I think this is pretty similar to L'Oreal Bambi and the CoverGirl mascara. Volume, I would rate a 3 out of 5 here. It definitely does not give a ton of volume, but I think that this one looks less voluminous than some of the other mascaras that got a higher rating because the formula is not as black. Some of these other mascaras are jet black, and I think that that definitely creates the illusion of a fuller lash. But separation for this one, I would rate a 4.5 out of 5, especially my left eye. I think that this separates my lashes so well, which is really confusing because of the type of wand that this is. You wouldn't expect to get a really separated result with something like this, but somehow it works, and I actually think that this is a really beautiful natural looking mascara, which is why it is so high up on the list for me. Even though it's not as voluminous and bold, I think that it's really pretty, and especially with the makeup trends right now that are going around today, I guess, a lash like this I think pairs so well with a more kind of natural everyday makeup look. And I actually think that this one holds up pretty well on the lashes. So this is surprisingly one of my favorites of this video. Second to last, we have the Revlon So Fierce mascara. This is definitely one of the most highly requested mascaras after I posted part 1 of this video, and I understand why. It's definitely a good one. This wand is plastic and decently flexible. It's definitely more stiff than some of these other ones. I think that this would be even better if it was stiffer, and it has a very interesting combination of bristles. It tapers off as well, but not nearly as much as the L'Oreal Bambi Oversized Eye, so the bristles don't disappear fully at the end, even though I would like it if it was longer. And then as you twist this wand, you can see that it creates a different shape. It's really hard to explain, but there's different shapes going on here. This formula definitely leans more wet than dry, but because of the strange kind of setup with the wand, I feel like it just doesn't pick up and distribute product as evenly as some of these other mascaras. So there are definitely some clumps on the wand, and I feel like, yeah, it just doesn't perfectly and evenly coat my lashes in the way that I want to. Does a great job in some areas, not as amazing in others, even though overall I still do think it looks really nice. So I would give length here a 4.5 out of 5, especially when I'm looking up. I can see how long this mascara is in comparison to some of these others, but because it's not completely consistent, I can't give it a 5 out of 5. Volume, I would rate a 3.5 out of 5. I think it gives an average amount of volume, definitely not the best I've ever tried, but if you are into a more natural amount of volume, then I think that you would really enjoy that about this. And separation, I would rate a 4 out of 5. It's definitely not the most separated in this video, but does a better job than a lot of these for sure. And as a bonus, this one does wear really well on my lashes throughout the day. So I totally understand why so many of you love this. It is a very pretty mascara. It's not the best one that I have ever tried, but it is one that is really good. And last, but certainly not least, we have the winner of this video, which is the Maybelline The Colossal Big Shot Volume Express Mascara. This has the weirdest looking wand of all time. I still remember seeing marketing campaigns for this, commercials, influencers talking about it when it first launched, and I was like, ew, there's no way that that would work. Look at how messy that wand is. It has just all different shape and sized natural bristles on it that just are kind of sporadic and look clumpy. So I thought this was going to be a disaster, but it somehow works amazingly well. I think the saving grace with this is how stiff this wand is. It really just lets you, I don't know, I think coat the lashes so much better than a super bendy, flexible wand. And I think that the formula is perfect, which definitely helps. It's not too dry, it's not too wet, it's just nice, right, and in the middle, and that doesn't surprise me because I feel like Maybelline usually does a really good job with the formula of their mascaras. For this one, I would rate length a 5 out of 5. This gets so long and is definitely the most consistently long across all of my lashes. Out of all of the mascaras in this video, I think that it looks so pretty. I would rate volume a 4.5 out of 5. It is super voluminous, looks so good, but on top of that is pretty separated as well. I would rate separation a 4 out of 5 here. I definitely do have a little bit of clumping in some areas. It's not perfect, but so many of these other mascaras are so much clumpier than this. So, oh my gosh, I feel like this is so pretty. It really took me by surprise. I was not expecting to like this at all, let alone have it be my favorite in this entire video. I think this is beautiful. I've been using this so much, and bonus, it holds up really well throughout the day. So I've actually been reaching for this a lot in combination with my Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. Can you believe? I know, because I have been sticking to my two holy grails for years at this point, but this is one that I actually love using. I think it's awesome. Okay, to wrap up this video, I want to show you guys what all of these mascaras look like side by side so that you can pause the video, screenshot if you need to, do whatever you want so that you can figure out which of these options is going to be the best fit for you. This was also a top request from the first mascara showdown, so I wanted to make sure that I included this for you in part 2. All right, and with that, we are going to wrap up this video video here. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you tried any of these mascaras? What was your experience? Are you going to purchase any after watching this video? If so, which one are you most interested in? And again, don't forget to check out part 1 because I reviewed so many amazing mascaras and that video, some of my all-time favorites. As always, all of these mascaras will be listed and linked in order of mention in my description box below. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, click on that notification bell, and send my channel to a friend. If there's anything you would like to see from me next, a part 3 of this video, or maybe other makeup categories that I do a similar style video with, if there are any other makeup categories that you want me to do a similar showdown style video with, let me know. I am so down to do that. Otherwise, if there's anything else you would like to see from me, let me know in the comments below and stay tuned for my next video because that will be up in a few days. But until then, I hope you have a great few days.